LMU. Hiveston Pavilion at the helm of LMU. Michael Greenstein, Deidre Carr, Julian McFadden are officials tonight. We're underway. Exhibition campaign. This will not feel like an exhibition, though, tonight, Bill. Coaching staff for LMU made it very clear they're approaching this like it is opening night with a packed house inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, that competitive fire that you have as a player, that exhibition asterisk becomes incidental when you're on the floor.
17-15 for the Lions last year, just 8-10 in WCC play, as Shelley has it knocked off of his hand and out of bounds. There's a look at the rest of your starting lineups on the bottom of the screen. Bill, you just wonder for LMU, it's a team who's been right in the middle of the WC standings over the last few years in the Stan Johnson era. How can they get over that hump, get into the ilk of the Gonzagas and St. Mary's of the league?
Yeah, it just starts really with being relentless, connected, and, of course, selfless. That's Stan Johnson's mantra, and that will have to be followed for the Lions to ascend in the conference.
An offensive rebound on a reset following the miss by Kofi from three, but it is thrown away. Just underway from Gersten Pavilion.
And, of course, Ben, last season, LMU had 2 5-game winning streaks, one non-conference, one in the conference, won another MTE championship. This one happened to be in Cancun. They've had wins over the past couple of years over Gonzaga, over St. Mary's, Wake Forest, Georgetown. But you want that consistency, of course. And like you said, they want to rise to the top of the conference.
Ball knocked away. There's Terrence Williams. USC and LMU similar in a lot of ways. They showed flashes of brilliance last year, but were plagued by inconsistencies. Marsh, step back three, is short. That was a big area of struggle for LMU, the rebounding game. They were plagued by a lack of rebounding prowess inside, but they get the board here. And we get a foul off the ball. First whistle of the night.
And to your point, Ben, the identity, we're seeing a little bit of choppy play here early as both coaching staffs get a look at their players under duress, competing against someone with a different jersey. And for USC, okay, road poise, right? Take care of the ball, execute under duress, and you've got to own the glass. So you can't come into an opponent's gym, throw the ball all over the place, and give LMU those second chance opportunities, that opportunistic offense that Stan Johnson and the Lions want.
USC a season ago, just 3-7 on the road. Asar, the transfer from Utah, 1 of 2 at the stripe. As MJ Amy, mostly a sixth man off the bench last year, he gets bumped on the interior by Asar. This is the part of the court most LMU Lion fans will be interested in, Bill, to see the development as you get another look at this drive and foul.
Yeah, so straight line drive, and to Amy's credit, he gets to the, it's a non-shooting foul, but he senses the opportunity to penetrate and get to the basket before dishing.
I mean, LMU, a top 5 defense overall in the conference last year. This was the end of the floor they struggled in as Amy airballs. And it's Asar coast to coast, knocked away, and a chance to push. 2-on-1 for the Lions. It is Vide who can't finish. Dickerson comes up with it, and maybe the expected sloppy start of a first exhibition game. Marsh can't answer on the floater as Sansa gets the board.
And that miss by Vide, an aberration.
Finds the big man underneath. Sansa on a tie-up and a jump ball. 0 for 6 combined from the field between USC and LMU.
And no one is making any excuses, but when you look at LMU's roster, 68% of their scoring has moved on. So you've got to replace that, and you've got capable players here in Amy, Vide, McBride, Asanza, Shelley, of course, a newcomer.
Just one returning starter, to your point, back for LMU, even though they do have 6 returners overall from last year. We do see Chad Baker-Mazzara in for the first time, but it's his teammate Jacob Kofi called for the moving screen. Now for Eric Musselman, he decided to completely rehaul his team. He's without 2 key pieces. Elijah Arenas might miss the entire season. The freshman 5-star recruit, son of Gilbert Arenas, had a car crash in April, tore his meniscus in July. They haven't yet officially said he'll be out for the year, but at least going to miss the first 4 months of the season. Then Rodney Rice, the transfer from Maryland, hoping to get him to go at the start of regular season play. Vide can't hit here, but it's a follow-up and foul. Asanza on the offensive glass. So pretty clear to say, Bill, his USC team will look vastly different, the one we're seeing tonight, as to the one we expect to see come February and March.
Right, and Trojan fans are excited. Musselman's so good in year 2 at Arkansas, as well as Nevada prior to that, getting his team into the NCAA tournament. And, you know, it's interesting, this is could be the closest road trip that SC will have in its history. And, of course, the Big Ten presents opportunities, but also challenges on the road. And you see Asanza here getting LMU on the board, the 7-footer. And again, Vide with the great take, Asanza with the avarice on the offensive glass, getting to the free throw line. Coaching staff will look at that tomorrow on tape and say, Rick, come on, big boy, you got to dunk that next time.
The 7'1", 245-pound grad transfer does get both free throws for LMU. And our first look at Rokas Yatsus, the Central Florida transfer coming in. Another big body for head coach Stan Johnson. And a team that was one of the tallest in the country last year. They were the number 10 team as far as total height, but that didn't necessarily result in great rebounding play. Second worst rebounding team across the WCC a year ago, but they feel like the reinforcements have really helped in that side of the ball.
Yeah, that helps with the eye test in the airport. You intimidate people with the height, but of course, you're right, Ben, you got to bring it on the floor.
Here's Baker Mazzara on the step back, knocks it down. He played in the Final Four last year for Auburn and was the piece in the transfer portal as Jerry Easter gets the steal off the inbounds and lays it off for Terrence Williams.
So USC, very aggressive. Musselman, he recruits a lot of ex-football players. They bring the physicality. And the Lions, in contrast, have to handle that type of pressure.
Shelley airballs the 3. Block inside. Gabe Dines just led the country in blocks last year at Youngstown State. Transition 3. Easter way short, and a rebound to Rodney Brown Jr., transfer from Va Tech, just into the game. Teammates together in Missouri as Dickerson banks it in. Amarion Dickerson, the transfer from Robert Morris, was awesome last year, Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year, and it is a 6-0 run for USC. Yatsus expected to play a big role in the interior. His pass knocked away, and then Shelley gets
tournament. Jeff Fryer's in the building at 41 against Michigan in that win. He still holds the NCAA tournament game record of 11 made threes. Spoke to the team prior to this game as well.
Out of the timeout, nice little head fake from A.J. Thomas, the true freshman in. Hard to believe, 40 years this spring since that fateful moment in LMU basketball history that changed the trajectory forever. In the meantime, Chad Baker Mazzara, tough finish. That's why Eric Musselman brought him in from Auburn as one of the best impact transfers in the country.
Yeah, and he shoots around 40% from 3, and he crushes you at the free throw line, but he shoots in the high 80s. Again, he had that 18-point performance against Florida in the Final Four. He's a very skilled player.
This is a good opportunity for A.J. Thomas, true freshman from Lancaster, California, getting an opportunity to earn some minutes right out of the chute, but the Lions are down to 4 on the shot clock, and Baker Mazzara takes it away. Sets up his teammate Williams, who's a little strong on the 3. Easter saves right to Brown. Thomas wide open, pull up 3, won't go, and the long board out to Williams. And Baker Mazzara just looks so in command in a game that has a lot of sloppiness.
Yeah, he plays with great poise. 1-2-2 pressure.
And a chance for the freshman to get in as well for LMU. We mentioned Thomas already. Jael Martin, the 24 in white. He's in the near corner of your screen. Redshirt freshman from Carlsbad, California, in for the first time. Brown can end the drought. Asanza denied by Dines, who had 104 of those last year. One of the best shot blockers in the country at Youngstown State.
Now, I would be a good defender if I had Dines behind me, okay? Now, this guy, look at the elevation and the SWAT. Gorgeous.
You play with a lot of 7'5" guys on the playgrounds of the Jersey Shore, Bill, back in the day?
No, not really. And I'm also not averse to a little bit of embellishment. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But nobody 7-5.
MJ Amy back in. Lions desperate to snap the scoring drought. Won't come here, but Asanza, another offensive board. Tough finish over Dines, won't go. Jaden Brownell just in as well for USC. He's on the ball right now. Jordan Marsh brought in. Prodigious score last year, nearly 19 a game for UNC Asheville to try to complement this Trojan attack. As Baker Mazzara can't hit, rebound to Asanza, who has been impressive holding his own underneath so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Both ends of the floor. Asanza has been very active.
Here's Martin on the drive, fouled before he laid it off for Asanza.
And Ben, as you know, many of the pundits have rated USC's performance in the portal as quite strong. So they've reloaded in a major way. And we see a good baseline drive here and an attempt to dish by Martin.
Thomas has it knocked away by Baker Mazzara. 10-0 run for USC in this first of two exhibition games for both Trojans and Lions. On the spin, Thomas partial alter by Easter. And a lot of the websites that have the analytic data, the Ken Palms of the world, are in love with this USC team. It's just a question of, can they all come together? And on plays like that, they will. Baker Mazzara to a wide open Dines.
Yeah, just great execution by USC. And that'll be a topic in the next huddle, of course, for Stan Johnson. Tougher defense.
Another stuff from Dines, and it's last off Amy.
Now Vide back on the floor, the Slovenian. Fellow countryman also toiling in Los Angeles, Luka Doncic.
Toiling being the operative word used there. Oh, and for LMU, too, trying to figure out with the two leading scorers from last year, Caleb Stone-Carrawell, Javon Porter, no longer on the roster, who do you go to when you need a bucket to snap a 10-0 drought like this?
Yeah, and that's all part of the identity, the culture of the program as you develop, Ben, and understand exactly that scenario, how to respond.
Williams had a season cut short to injury last year. Gets the ball back, 5 on the shot clock. On the drive, finish will go, Terrence Williams. The Michigan transfer was really good for USC before he went down with injury in early December last year.
Yeah, that was a great drive. Williams, he sensed the switch, still went to the basket and finished strong. Well done.
A near steal, but it leads Amy open for three. The drought continues for LMU. This is a 14-0 run. And it's Marsh wide open. Can't hit the three, but another offensive rebound for Brownell. Just transferring in from Samford. Now Marsh with a size mismatch. Lays it off. Easter through contact. No, but a foul. All Trojans so far as we hit a break in this first exhibition.
Within yourself, make smart plays, and also, USC, 12 of their 15 points have come in the paint. So you've got to tighten things up on the defensive end. But your defense starts with good offense. You want the Trojans to take the ball out of the net so that you're in better defensive position.
E.J. Neal, saw him check in a moment ago, that number 12 for the Trojans, transfer from Sacramento State, who was the team's leading three-point shooter last year. Out of the timeout, Jerry Easter hits 1 of 2 at the line. Ryan Cornish in as well for the first time, the Dartmouth transfer for SC.
And to your point, Ben, you really literally have to take it one possession at a time here. You have to dig in. It's like you have a tough day at practice. You got to dig into the next drill.
Jan Vide played about 20 minutes a game off the bench last year, former UCLA Bruin. He's familiar with this USC program. Josh Dalton, a true freshman, just into the game. And his first shot off the mark. Oh, what a follow-up. Jalen Shelley, the ex-Trojan, throws it down.
And that's the way to get your offense going and to get the crowd going. An outstanding atmosphere here at Gersten Pavilion tonight.
On the lob, Dines underneath. Nice ball movement through the hands of Cornish. And not anything to cheer about in the first 10 minutes for the LMU fans as Marsh has 7 on the shot clock and then steps on the baseline. Exactly what you were talking about, Bill. A good offensive set leading to good D on the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've got a little bit of momentum going here, handling the USC three-quarter court pressure. This has to be an opportunity for a dunk at the other end. You embrace the pressure. Shelley with the significant hops gets the crowd into it.
You have the 2 team captains on the floor right now, Vide and Amy, each both voted upon by their teammates to be captains this year. But Vide loses the handle, just saves it before the backcourt violation. 5 of the shot clock. Amy kicks, high archer, short. Potential for an offensive rebound, but Shelley couldn't control on the missed 3 by Dalton.
Yeah, that was a good effort by Shelley with the basketball right in front of him. That's not going to happen that often. And there he is extending a missed box out, and he takes advantage in a major way for the Lions as they try to close this gap.
Think he's amped it all playing against his former coach, the Muss? Maybe just a touch.
No question, no question. A little extra motivation for sure.
Baker Mazzara draws the foul on Rodney Brown, 3rd team foul on LMU. Yeah, the projections for USC are really all over the place. They were only picked 12th out of 18 teams in the Big Ten, but the KenPom numbers have them as a legit top 25 team. It's as good of a transfer class as any in the country. You would not be surprised, really, to see this team be a deep March Madness run team. It wouldn't be a shocker if they missed the tournament altogether, though. That's the fascinating part of putting these teams together through the portal, as it's an and one for Marsh, floating it up and in.
Yeah, gorgeous move by Marsh, getting into the painted area, the floater, capitalizing and going to the line. Well, that's really, in a way, the story of college basketball. Little handoff here, and Marsh knows what to do. He sees daylight. Vide tries to beat him to the spot, but there is contact, and Marsh takes advantage. But that's the challenge, is to inculcate into your roster of new players your philosophy and also distilling all the information, the film, the data, the analytics, to get players to execute on the floor. It's really fascinating to watch the whole process, so we'll see how it plays out. But certainly both of these teams have, high aspirations and high potential within their respective leagues. There's no doubt about it.
Turnover, though, for LMU. That is 8 on the night and an extended 17-2 run, running over 8 minutes for head coach Stan Johnson. He's the only coach in WCC history to beat Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and BYU in the same season, but sustaining that consistency has been the big challenge.
Yeah, that's why this night in particular is a great opportunity for the Lions to find it. When your weaknesses are exposed, that's actually a good thing, because then you have the opportunity to work on it. Great D by Vide.
Vide with a takeaway. 3-on-2 chance, but it gets away from Brown. And Shelley recovers for the Lions. On the drive and kick, 3 on the way. Knocks it down. Rodney Brown Jr., welcome to LA.
Yeah, Brown is one of those guys that can be, you talked about it earlier, Ben, which guys can step up and score, and Brown certainly has the ability and the opportunity to do that in a major way for LMU.
Baker Mazzara been the focal point for USC in the opening 12-plus minutes. The deep 2, a little strong from Marsh. There's Assar with the board. Can't finish, but is fouled on the way up as we hit a break. Well, slow start for LMU, but the Lions, great to ring it all in with a intra-Los Angeles showdown, isn't it?
Yeah, academic success just as important for student athletes as winning games here at LMU. Resource labs, studying and tutoring spaces, offices for advisors and administrators, excellent film room, training facilities. Matthew Lerman, the great SID here, took me on a tour earlier today. And I started to get comfortable. I didn't want to leave. He said, no, Bill, this is not for you. You can work at Starbucks, my friend. But absolutely gorgeous renovation here at Gersten Pavilion. First class.
Assar 1 of 2 at the line and getting to ring it in front of a packed house as well. Now for LMU, it's a matter of shaking off the first 10-plus minutes where the Lions started 0 of 14 from the field and have struggled handling the ball. That's another turnover. Chance for Marsh to run all the way. Baker Mazzara on the finish, and then he almost steals the inbounds pass.
Yeah, so Marsh has been a provocateur. He has been ubiquitous on the floor and in the stat sheet. And Baker Mazzara, obviously, he's going to run the full 94 feet here and try to capitalize for USC. Get a good look at it here. As a player, you anticipate your teammate is going to make that, but you follow up anyway. And the fans at USC are going to love that all season long.
Here's a player Lion fans will love watching, the Kyle Shelton. Our first look at him, expected to have a big role. First team All-OVC last year for Eastern Illinois. A prodigious scorer in his time in the Midwest.
Yeah, some nice pieces added by Stan Johnson to this Lions roster.
Shelley, no on the 3, and then you can tell Shelton's fired up. Got up for that offensive board, but goes over the back.
And, you know, obviously, you know, the mantra, defend without fouling, and you don't want to foul. But in a situation like this, you could live with that energy and that avarice for the offensive glass, the energy that Shelton's bringing.
14-point lead for USC, moving to the late stages of the first half. Chad Baker Mazzara putting his Final Four credentials on display tonight. As Assar goes to work in the paint, can't finish. Nice D from a true freshman, Josh Dalton.
Dalton has great size, and he will have an NBA body very soon. He's an imposing figure as a freshman. Only going to get bigger and stronger. There he is.
All right, on cue. Can't finish on the first tip attempt and then gets fouled off the Jalen Shelley miss. Dalton got invited to play at the Jason Tatum Elite Camp in Las Vegas over the summer. You can see the athleticism on display.
Yeah, and this is where LMU would like to continue their defensive prowess into this season with the remade roster. They would like to rebound the basketball on both ends of the floor. They, of course, defensively like to control and own the defensive glass and get out and run, and therefore generate a bit more offense. Such valuable minutes for a player like Dalton this evening.
Jerry Easter back in for USC. I mean, when you talk with the coaching staff of Stan Johnson at LMU, it's 3 simple words: defend, rebound, run. Was the 3rd best defensive field goal team in the WCC last year as you get a moving screen going on the Trojans going the other way.
Yeah, Shelton's bringing good defensive energy, and that was a great pick and roll help scenario by Asanza. Great job by our crew here as we get a second look. Look at Asanza in the drop position. And again, Shelton, rear view mirror block. Well done. And great job by our crew as well.
And Kofi called for that moving screen, his second personal. 6 to go in the first half. A lot of freshmen getting their first taste of college basketball tonight in this exhibition for LMU. Tanner Thomas, the Sacred Heart transfer, also just in for the first time. A.J. Thomas, the true freshman, but he walks with the basketball. No better way to get thrown into the fire, right, than against a legit Power 4 team like an SC.
Yeah, Thomas is an intriguing player, scored over 3,000 in high school. And again, now what used to be checkers is chess. Like you said, baptism by fire against USC on your home floor.
It's interesting to watch how the Trojans look in half-court sets against a tall, tenacious defense like in LMU. SC really struggled against the slower tempoed teams last year. They were 0-8 against teams in the bottom 100 of overall Ken Pomeroy tempo as you get a foul off ball here. And when you play in the Big Ten, Bill, you got to learn how to play against all sorts of styles. They really run the gamut more so than any conference in the country.
Yeah, and you look at Purdue atop the early polls here. And yeah, it's such treacherous terrain is the Big Ten. And of course, you make the same argument at LMU when you have to visit the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Santa Clara, Pepperdine, Portland. I can go on and on.
That's why both coaches felt like this would be a very useful exhibition for both, aside from just the proximity, trying to look at the weaknesses that were exposed last year and get immediate tests to try to improve upon them. As you see, Eric Musselman brought over from Arkansas with huge expectations. They bought out a big contract of over $4 million a year, paid the $1 million buyout from us. They're expecting big things. You get a pass right in year one, but now the expectation is NCAA tournament at a minimum for the Trojans.
Yeah, and Coach Muss is used to it, obviously. The scion of the late Bill Musselman, the great USD San Diego coaching tree. Gus Argenal, former assistant at Arkansas under Muss, now the head coach at UC Riverside. It continues to grow that tree, but he embraces the challenge here, no question.
A foul called off ball after Baker Mazzara got 1 of 2 at the line, and then Terrence Williams had the offensive rebound. 22-9 for USC as MJ Amy returns. And that foul puts LMU over the limit, 7th team foul. USC also over the limit, and it's Gabe Dines. Now, they brought in to help them with some of that size when they go up against the big, tall, slow-playing teams, but Dines misses the front end of the bonus.
You know what's interesting here, Ben, too, is that LMU's really struggled from the floor, 2 of 20, but a couple of buckets here, and it's a single-digit game. It's amazing how it's a game of creating, sustaining, and surviving runs.
Thomas on the push shot goes down for one of the best scorers in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference last year at Sacred Heart. Easter, the floater, too strong. Amy skies for the rebound. Last year's 6th man, now expected to be a key starter for LMU.
See, it's amazing what happens when you get stops on the defensive end.
The Lions missed their first 15 shots, 3 of 6 since. Amy, open look, can't hit the 3, and a rebound to Marsh.
That is a good look for Amy as well.
Oh, what great hustle in the backcourt. As the redshirt freshman, Jael Martin, they say he's a freakish athlete, and he showed it there, picking the pocket.
Very opportunistic.
Gotta love the referees in this situation. It's an exhibition. Let them play a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Bang some bodies.
That's a great point, because Martin did get away with bumping Marsh, no call. But
Just a little.
You got to like that, though.
No, Martin goes to the line.
That's great preparation for the WCC and Big Ten campaigns, right? It's going to be physical. You got to get used to it.
Coaching staff was telling us Martin really has the prototypical NBA body, size and length that you salivate over as a head coach on the wing. While Brownell comes in for USC, just like with any of the newcomers who has not played a second of college basketball before, it's just how quickly Bill can he integrate himself into this system.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss as well. You just come in and play like you've played your entire life, right? Just come in and get after it.
0 for 2 at the line, stays an 11-point USC lead in what has been a defensive slugfest. Now a foul going the other way. It's Baker Mazzara called for the moving screen. Trojans have gotten caught for a few of those in the first half alone.
Tim Capstraw, the Brooklyn Nets radio analyst, Randy Foy, used to say the only thing you'd be late for in the NBA is a screen being set for you. So sometimes you just have to have patience as a ball handler. Let that screen be set. Let things develop.
Freshman to freshman here. Thomas to Martin. Had nothing on the baseline. Tanner Thomas in amongst the trees. High degree of difficulty.
Quickly, you go at him and try to get him in foul trouble, attack him, or you bring him out onto the perimeter so that opens up driving lanes. So It's a conundrum, no question, but one that can be overcome.
Brownell off on a 3. LMU is hung in this game, though, by good perimeter defense. Trojans 0 from 7 from 3. Transition tray a little strong from Martin, but it's knocked off last by Jaden Brownell. Now, so often, if you're at 11 points through 17 minutes, you're thinking game is probably over, but LMU, who hangs their hat on the defensive end, has been able to just bring this to a grinding halt, essentially, over the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, as UB Brown says, an NBA game is never over. Same thing for college. And you're right, LMU's defense, they've held SC to 4 points over the last 5 or 6 minutes or so of this game. So they've made nice adjustments defensively. And again, when you're getting stops, when you're getting defensive rebounds, or you're turning the ball over, that just opens up scoring opportunities.
Now some confusion now from Stan Johnson and his staff. It was a 5-second call on Jan Vide. Looked like he was trying to call timeout. So he tried to call timeout. They didn't give it to him before the 5-second violation. Now they're giving Stan Johnson a timeout that he probably doesn't want at this point. And you can tell not happy about it. And I think now they are going to first wave off the timeout and decide not to review it. So we're good to go. That's why we have the exhibition season, right?
Absolutely. Even for the officials who are doing a terrific job, notwithstanding the timeout confusion.
Marsh in the traffic and lays it off. Well, Dines is known for his shot blocking, but he can also do that. Easy stick back. You go 5'11" point guard up to 7'5" center.
So if you go and help on the driving ball handler, there must be rotation and a body put on a red jersey. If that does not happen, you see USC capitalizing.
Eric Musselman has to love what he's seeing from Dines. On the drive, stripped underneath. Baker Mazzara starts the outlet. Baker Mazzara on the mid-range. A little short. There's a rebound from Vide and a chance to push for LMU. Those opportunities few and far between. Block from behind. Deflects right to the corner and Rodney Brown. Vide drive and kick. Extra pass. Amy on the deck. Partial alter again by Dines. How good is this SC defense?
Yeah, Dines with great anticipation and timing.
Oh, he wants the ball back. Look at him go underneath. Oh, he's denied again. Great battle on the bigs. Brownell for 3. That's good. A 27-11 lead for USC. They forced the Lions into missing their first 15 field goals. And it's just felt like every offensive possession, it is even finding an open look, Bill, has been difficult for the Lions.
Yeah, no question, Ben. USC has made the Lions work offensively. And again, like you said, exhibition, you want to get a barometer of where you're at.
Brown off on a 3, offensive rebound. How about another one? Gabe Dines in midseason form already. And this was the weakness of USC last year. They were a sieve in a lot of games defensively with a foul called on Baker Mazzara pushing Brown from behind.
And we saw McBride there with an offensive rebound, number 16 in white. McBride's such a good, versatile player, but again, great extension by Dines, just owning the defensive glass.
Brings Rodney Brown Jr. to the line. So nice from his perspective now to be in a healthy, stable program. Brown originally committed to Cal when Mark Fox was still the head coach, but Fox got fired before his freshman year even started. So he played for Mark Madsen, the new coach, for a year, then went to Va Tech, came off the bench in 18 games a season ago, now back in his home state in LA. Makes both free throws, snaps a long scoring drought for the Lions, who trail by 14 late stages first half. Baker Mazzara, they keep him in, playing with the 2 fouls. 6 in the shot clock. Good D. Baker Mazzara, nowhere to go. Off the side of the backboard. How was Rodney Brown able to do that. Really impressive on the defensive end, but he lost the handle. A steal by Easter. That really has been the first half tale in a nutshell. Even when LMU's made good, solid, hard-working defensive plays, they've been unable to capitalize. Marsh, a super impressive first half. The UNC Asheville transfer lays it off. Easter blocked. Great play, Aaron McBride, but it's taken away again. Easter the lob. Oh, the finish at the rim by Dines. Impossible to slow that down. The lob up to one of just 14 players in NCAA history to be 7'5" or taller. And a 16-point edge for the Trojans. 3 from the corner, a little strong. Fight for the board comes to Brownell. 6 seconds left in the half. Chad Baker-Mazzara in his USC debut. 7 points, couple boards. Launches the 3, but is a little strong. And that does it. First half of the first exhibition game of the season in the books, and it's USC on top, 29-13. Behind 7 from the new LMU's regular season and home opener, USC hosting Cal Poly on November the 3rd. So still a couple weeks left. Get all the kinks out for LMU. Just 3 of 29 from the field in the first half. How will Jan Vide and the Lions adjust? And MJ Amy with a nice drive and kick. Open 3, Shelley short. Just 1 of 12 from downtown now for the Lions.
A better offensive possession for LMU. Multiple touches resulted in a good shot. Didn't get the result you wanted.
Jordan Marsh in his Trojan debut was really impressive just with his general ball movement. Couple points, couple rebounds, even though the shots weren't really going in. Just 1 of 7, but here he reverses that. And a guy who averaged almost 19 a game last year, you'd imagine he'd start getting things rolling at some point in the game.
Yeah, teardrop over the 7-foot Asanza. Well done.
Vide, nice pass to McBride, but he shuffled the feet underneath.
And we talked about turnovers being problematic for LMU, and here you see Marsh over the extension of the 7-1 Asanza. Well done. It's all those drills, right? The reps that you're doing over your opponents, whether it's Dines or someone holding up a broomstick, right? All those reps pay off.
Now Marsh always been, is a nice drive here. No finish though for Dickerson. And Marsh always been, he's been an undersized, under-recruited 5'11", 146 junior. You see Vide get past him. Vide on the drive and kick. MJ Amy figures to be the true leader of this team. 4 starts a year ago. Tough step back, board to Rick Asanza, and a reset for Vide and LMU, who have won the rebounding battle by 4 so far. Vide, nice spin, and up in the redshirt senior. It's been a struggle tonight, but you see that number 5 in white on the ball defending right now. Certainly the expectations are he will lead this Lions bunch. Yeah,
along with Vide, a co-captain, went for 24 in a win at Pacific last season, 16 high scorer at San Diego in a win. 16 in the season finale against Washington State. So Amy's got the ability. It's about the consistency.
Loose ball underneath off the miss by Williams. Kept alive for the Trojans. Corner pocket 3. Jordan Marsh knocked down a ton of those last year. Was the Big South Newcomer of the Year. Had parlayed that into a move to LA and Eric Musselman's squad at USC.
Yeah, so when you do not control your defensive board, it becomes problematic.
11 offensive rebounds for USC tonight. Vide stuck. There's Amy. Can he get untracked? Yes! Triple for Amy after an 0 for 6 start.
So you just love to see that as an LMU fan, to see Amy start to percolate. Can they get it going defensively? Deflections. Harass the Trojans, make them feel you at Gersten Pavilion. That's the goal right now for LMU.
And how will this defensive set look trying to disrupt the Trojan offense? It's a foul by Rick Asanza.
There's the Marsh 3 in front of his bench, and then Amy responds on the other end. Asanza committing the foul been out defending on the perimeter, not in the post area where he's accustomed to. So we get a good look at Asanza, number 22, at 7-1, defending Marsh, inbounding. Earl Boykins, an assistant under Eric Musselman. I'm sure Marsh has learned a lot under his tutelage.
No doubt. Marsh travels here. That was the one new addition of Eric Musselman on his staff. Good look at Will Conroy, who was standing there a moment ago, Todd Lee, Michael Musselman, Anthony Ruda, and now Earl Boykins, who played for Eric Musselman with the Golden State Warriors back in the early 2000s. As good as it gets as far as diminutive backcourt players in the NBA.
Yeah, he was dynamic.
On the spin, Vide, nice finish, inside, goes right over Marsh.
Vide using his size advantage at 6'6". Excellent move and execution.
Well, we used the first half really to shake off the 7+ month cobwebs for both teams. Now the offense has looked a little more in rhythm. Kofi for three, not this time, and a rebound for Amy. Amy, coast to coast, but blocked. Terrence Williams with a chance to run. Dickerson can't finish. Loose, Kofi goes up strong, not there, and a foul underneath going LMU's way. Well, I guess I spoke too soon on getting the cobwebs out on off.
3 from Amy, so they're showing their leadership demonstrably on the floor.
It took about 12 minutes for LMU to score the first 7 points in the first half. Ticky-tack foul called first on Jordan Marsh, and now another personal going on Amarion Dickerson.
Dickerson is a type kid that you do not want to get matched up in practice. Like if you got a beat to the spot, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go at it with Dickerson again. Again, he was a conference defensive player of the year in the Horizon League last season. And of course, defense travels, Ben. You can earn minutes at any program in the country if you're hungry and you like to defend, and Dickerson sure does.
And it'd be great to watch Dickerson, that number 3 in red for USC. He was a standout in the NCAA tournament. Robert Morris almost beat Alabama. They were up in the second half of that game, and Dickerson had 25 points, 9 boards. Here he is on D with a nice closeout. Makes it a tough 3, but the follow-up will go for Jael Martin. That's one way you get around a great defender, just get an offensive board.
No question. Martin has looked good tonight, Ben. You talked about him during the first 20 minutes. It's been a bright spot for LMU and a tough night thus far.
Baker Mazzara going right at Jael Martin. Great D from the redshirt freshman. We always wonder how guys will look after sitting on the bench an entire season as a redshirt, and you can just tell Martin has been chomping at the bit to get out there.
Yeah, 6'8". He plays bigger than 6'8". But, you know, sometimes you see the scorecard hyperbole, if you will. But if anything, he looks like he's even longer than 6'8", plays longer than that. Carlsbad High School product.
I mark it down, Bill. We got to 7:22 p.m. on our first broadcast of the season before we got a hyperbole out of you. There we go. That means we are truly back. Shelley, deflection by Dines, who has been everywhere on defense for USC tonight. So between Dines and Dickerson, couple of really good standout defenders for USC. The Trojans were just 88th in Ken Pom defense last year.
Yeah, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships, as they say.
Dines stuck after that ball hit the front of the rim and then gets bumped in the paint by Rokas Yatsus.
Yeah, so for Yotsis, this is a big opportunity to go against formidable big guys in a high pressure packed environment at home. So we see him here, and again, so much value in the videotape when the coaching staff will break this down with the players. There, you know, you want to make contact first, hit, find, and go get it, as Tom Izzo of Michigan State in the Big Ten likes to say, his mantra on rebounding.
There's a foul on Martin. That's 3 team fouls on both USC and LMU.
Now, excuse me, go ahead.
I was saying, you mentioned Tom Izzo. I mean, that was arguably the best win USC had last year. Beat Michigan State, along with going to Illinois, winning outright in Champaign as a big underdog. That's the interesting thing for SC. How will that first year of struggle in the Big Ten translate now after having a year with a foul called inside on Shelley? You have the year of the travel to the East Coast, some of the brutal scheduling spots that the Trojans, the Bruins of UCLA, Oregon had to face last year. Can you work through that, and now that you've had a year of it under your belt, transfer it into a better second campaign?
Yeah, so you have no choice, but you have to, right? That's the opportunity and the challenge. And that's a nice combination there. Dickerson trying to throw it up to Dines as Dickerson goes to the free throw line. I think that, like anything else, you get a little bit familiar. You get a good look at Coach Musselman. You get a little bit familiar with the conference, with the travel, with the routine. Now you've got a whole different roster, basically, right? So they've got to, learn that. But again, that's just part of being a professional at this level, right?
Certainly a big reason why the Trojans brought in Chad Baker-Mazara. As Dickerson made both free throws, you go from the SEC best conference in college basketball to the Big Ten, who's like 1B to the SEC's 1A. Here's Shelley. High over Dines, who's altered about a half dozen shots. He has actually blocked 5 of them, but USC touches the sideline on that transition play by Easter. Eric Musselman played his college ball at San Diego, just a couple hours away from here. Now 60 years old. Doesn't coach like he's 60 though, does he? he was all in the grill of Jacob Kofi earlier after a near failure to get it inbounds. You can tell this might be October 18th, but the must bus is in full swing.
Yeah, he's got tremendous energy.
Oh, nice triple. Rodney Brown, second 3 of the night, goes down. And LMU, who has struggled so much of the night shooting the balls, within 11.
That's the crazy thing about this game, right?
Now a charge going on the other end. It's Dines called for the moving screen.
Now, we talked about that earlier. You must maintain your position. And that's, as we look at an exasperated Coach Musselman with a ton of energy. It's like, Dines, come on. You got to stay set. And again, LMU, couple of buckets, force a couple of turnovers, and you're right back in this thing. It's a crazy game. Never over till it's over, as Yogi used to say.
3 on the way. No, but a foul. A.J. Thomas got hit on the side by Jordan Marsh. Big mistake as Marsh now picks up his 4th personal.
So Thomas, the true freshman, scored over 3,000 points in high school. Indoctrinated into the college game this evening by visiting USC at Enterprise High School in Arizona. He's got a very high ceiling. It'll be very fun to watch his progression from game to game. Literally drill to drill, practice to practice, if you want to get really granular.
On one of 8 newcomers for LMU. We lost 4 starters, 4 seniors from last year's team. Caleb Stone-Carawell was an honorable mention, all-conference player, the team's leading scorer. Then Javon Porter decided to go back to his hometown school, University of Missouri, after being the 2nd leading scorer, also honorable mention all-conference. But they hope guys like A.J. Thomas can help fill that void. And LMU, for the first time since mid-first half, is within single digits.
Crowd's getting into it. The Lions ascending.
Baker-Mazara, nothing but air. On LMU has made more field goals in the first 7 minutes of this half than they did the entire opening 20 minutes.
A tale of 2 halves, no question. And this is just good defense. Look at Asanza in help position.
And some miscommunication by USC on the transition defense getting back. Thomas, the freshman, tried to cross over Baker-Mazara. There's Thomas on the mid-range. Some night for a true freshman making your debut. 5 straight for Thomas. It's a 6-point game. Baker-Mazara. Easter. Big answer for the Trojans. Didn't see much of this end-to-end pace in the first half.
Yeah, better flow.
And a travel going on Brown.
Now Thomas's last move, exceptional in that you don't hear about it a lot, but just the poise, strong dribble, under duress, in traffic, elevates over the defender, nothing but net. That's absolutely gorgeous. And we see here Easter going reverse layup. Great answer by the Trojans. Excellent college basketball back in LA.
A slow start, but we've ratcheted things up. Big block, no on the follow-up dunk. Oh, another stuff, but a foul. Bodies flying everywhere. This is the good stuff. Rick Asanza had a couple swats.
The second 20 minutes.
And USC leaning on one of 10 transfers brought in through the portal. Marion Dickerson knocks down both at the line. Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year led Robert Morris to the NCAA tournament a season ago. They will stop play here. No foul or anything, but that wet spot got A.J. Thomas.
Player safety paramount. And also, you know, both coaches have gone deep into their benches. LMU has played 12 guys, so you're getting a good look at not only individual players, but also within their playing groups. We talked about the first media break, 7 points, 4 from Vide, 3 from Amy. Now we're talking about Thomas with 5, Brown with 3. Martin's chipped in with 2. So you're starting to get, in the second half numbers, you're starting to get more production from your deep bench as well.
Another whistle and a foul called on the inbounds. That is Jerry Easter.
Now Easter on that occasion looked like a defensive back. And by the way, SC's trailing Notre Dame 11-11 to go in the fourth quarter. Musselman doesn't like it. But again, that's a dangerous pass, but LMU will live with the result here. Great intensity, great environment in the building.
You got to respect the hardcore USC basketball fans watching us live right now. I'm sure a lot of people watch this on replay with the football going on, but it's been a fun night for a lot of newcomers for the Trojans, just like Chad Baker, Mazzara, but he got a little too fancy. 2 quick steps before that lay-in, and the sloppiness in the second half has continued for Eric Musselman's Trojans.
It has, no question. Coach Muscle try to clean that up. Baker Mazzara having a good laugh over that faux pas.
How about the freshman getting some run for LMU? Josh Dalton, A.J. Thomas in the game. As the senior leaner, Amy kicks out. 3 on the way. Foul again. Thomas airballs the 3, but for a second time this half, gets sideswiped on the release.
Yeah, that'll drive you crazy as a coach. I mean, you love the intensity, but to foul a three-point shooter, still the highest points per spot on the floor is at the free throw line. So defend without fouling is a mantra. You see Asanza going down in the paint. And again, you have to let the player land, has the safe landing area. And we see Thomas, the true freshman, at the line.
Now, Jerry Easter's uncle, the great Jimmy Jackson, he might get a text from Unc. Hey, be careful when you're closing out on those threes.
Talk about one of the great analysts out there. Jimmy Jackson does a great job. Clippers and other broadcasts, of course.
You'll be hearing a lot of him next couple of weeks. College Hoops official opening night, November 3rd. NBA season starts Tuesday. Great time of year. And after a slow start for both USC and LMU just 13 points in the first half. It's been a much more even game since. Dines controlling the free throw, and LMU just goes 1 of 3, and now Thomas called for the foul.
Yeah, so this is a good coaching moment, teaching moment for Thomas. You must maintain excellent defensive position. You come out of it and you bump the defender, the offensive player, it's an automatic foul. But those were really good minutes for Thomas. And in addition to a great environment here, a great crowd, also many NBA scouts also in attendance, checking out the talent on both squads.
Good ball movement. Baker Mazzara gets hit as he flips it up and draws a couple free throws.
Yeah, we talked about Baker Mazzara at the top of the broadcast, Ben. He was a Julius Erving Small Forward of the Year finalist last season, all SEC third team. And again, he shoots it about 40% from three, 88% from the free throw line. See good ball movement here by the USC. And see, Baker Mazzara is so smart. As soon as he senses the contact and a whistle, he's throwing it at the rim. Very intelligent play.
He's only been around a half dozen years in the college game. Chad Baker Mazzara will be the second oldest player in the country this year. He's 26 in late January. 26! And he's actually not the oldest player in the country. Would you believe that? Green Bay just got a guy named Ramel Bethea, who was in the military for 5 years, played JUCO ball last year in San Diego, and is now playing for Doug Gottlieb at Green Bay, is a 29-year-old
wow.
who will turn 30 before the season is over.
That is,
go figure, right?
That is terrific. You got to love it.
So Baker Mazzara, he's got a few years to go, but the grad transfer who has had quite the journey, the native of the Dominican Republic, his fourth Division I school. And he puts USC up 11, nearing the halfway mark of our second 20 minutes. Vide, Amy for three. No. Long carom out, sucked in by Marsh. Baker Mazzara from downtown, halfway down and out. Rebound to Thomas. Wonderful to see more Tanner Thomas down the stretch here, Bill. Really high pedigree player transferring in from Sacred Heart.
Yeah, it's a big-time defensive rebound. You'd love to see LMU get this back into single digits here before the next media break at under 8 minutes, or force Coach Musselman to call a timeout.
Oh, this is not good after Asanza's pass didn't have a whole lot of mustard on it, deflected out of bounds. Marsh ends up on the deck.
He is remaining on the floor, which is great news.
Now, last thing you want, and it's good to see for Marsh, able to walk it off, was clutching his left quad there for a second. Last thing you want to see in an exhibition especially is get somebody banged up, especially for USC, already down two likely starters. Baker Mazzara's no-look pass picked off. Chance for Vide to push. Vide knocks it down.
That is vintage Jan Vide. Floater in transition, nothing but twine, and a turnover by SC.
Wow, Baker Mazzara awfully casual with the ball.
Vide really has a feel for the game that you can't teach. He's a willing passer, an excellent disher, but also has the sense of knowing when to shoot. It sounds so pedestrian, but it's paramount to being a good player. Knowing when to pass, when to shoot. That's old school Oscar Robertson to UB Brown.
The Slovenian came off the bench all 32 games last year for LMU. Brings the Lions within 9. Brown thought about the three, passes it up. Scoop layup will go. 7-point game inside Gersten Pavilion.
It is a game of creating, sustaining, and surviving runs. LMU is on one at the moment.
Marsh just hounded by Vide, and he draws contact. Vide asking, what more was I supposed to do there on that defensive play?
Yeah, he's incredulous. You're right, man. And, of course, at 6'6", Marsh has got the ability to drive on the 6'6" Vide, to use his size and quickness, a la Earl Boykins, an assistant coach at SC, and he gets to the free throw line. And the Trojans have struggled here. 1 of their last 9. Conversely, LMU, 4 of their last 5. And as a consequence, the gap narrows.
8-point game with just under 9 to go. Marsh, if there was ever any question about the lack of size, he dispelled all the doubters last year. Over 23 points a game in conference play. Here he misses the second free throw and then knocks it out of bounds last.
And he plays with huge heart. Marsh, who just exited the game, and intelligence as well. Now we see USC full court, man-to-man. Both teams have played really exclusively man defense here tonight.
On LMU, so much more efficient offensively, 8 of 14 from the field in the half as Yatsus returns. How do you like to attack these if you're looking at the LMU set against this sort of token pressure?
Yeah, well, every time you see the pressure, you want to dunk at the other end. You want ball movement and the ability to flush it.
V-Day double teamed and swatted. Ball comes to Dalton on the back door. Oh, the dunk won't go, but a foul. Oh, would have blown the roof off this recently renovated Gersten Pavilion from Jalen Shelley, who had a big highlight dunk in the first half.
Yeah, he really did. He had the putback, and here he was ready to rip this rim down. But he'll get to the free throw line, and of course, toiling against his former squad, with LMU having the opportunity to cut this to a 6-point game, which would be a 2-possession game.
Well, that tiny piece of the arm Baker Mazar got just enough to alter a potential throwdown for Shelley, who was a top 50 recruit nationally out of Link Academy in Branson, Missouri. So Eric Musselman knew him for a long time. Since Branson, Missouri, not too far from Fayetteville, Arkansas. He goes to USC for a year, comes mostly off the bench last year, decides to transfer to LMU. And those 2 free throws, in fact, make it a 6-point game. Easter, the lob, no! Offensive board, Dines, outside. Dickerson too strong on a 3, but he gets the reset. As we cross the 8-minute mark, 6-point game. Easter lobs, extra pass, pump fake. Williams, 3, no. Long carom, that's corralled by Easter. Oh, what a sequence here. Williams, one more time. Again, a miss from downtown, and listen to this crowd. V-Day, high off the glass, but no, and a rebound to Baker Mazzara.
Incredible sequence. USC unable to convert after multiple offensive rebounds. Certainly Stan Johnson will talk about cleaning that up at the next media break, which is imminent.
Baker Mazzara denied. It's been nearly 5 minutes without a bucket for USC. And Yachts transfer brings it back to an 8-point lead for USC.
Yeah, USC needed that bucket. Marsh delivering. Excellent coaching. Coach Musselman after the timeout. Execution on the floor by USC.
I realize USC's only been in the Big Ten now 2 years, but this feels like an old school late 90s, like Wisconsin-Michigan State Big Ten duel, as it's a foul underneath, more hard physical play, and Marsh gets into it with the opposing number 7, Jan V-Day.
You've got to love the intensity on the floor. Asanza working for position. V-Day, of course, at 6'6", utilizing the size advantage against Marsh. Marsh is looking up at the replay. He's like, where's the foul? But like anything else, you got to live with it. Turn the page. V-Day looking to capitalize. Now remember, V-Day was terrific in Greece for Slovenia at the Euro Under-20 tournament. Led the tournament in scoring at 17.9 per game. A Slovenian like Luka Doncic, another guy playing here in Los Angeles. And big free throws by V-Day has cut this to 6, Ben.
8 points now for V-Day. 2-possession game, just over 6.5 to go. Fascinating to see how this USC newly put together rotation will look in some crunch time minutes. Baker Mazzar just brought over from Auburn. He's had an up and down night. The floater will go.
That's a big time shot. Marsh off the timeout. Now Baker Mazzara getting involved again.
USC led 29-13 at the half. It's been all LMU since to bring the deficit down to 8. Brown, the 1 double-digit score for the Lions. 4 in the shot clock. V-Day has to hoist. Not there on a three. Gets his own miss and is denied. What a block. Gabe Dines has 6 tonight. Allows Dickerson to drive hard. Partial alter. Williams comes up with it.
Yeah, the offensive rebounds have been a problem in the second half for the Lions.
But this time, no, it's not over the back. It is a foul on LMU on the deck following the Marsh miss from downtown.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be an over the back on Dines, but I think you're right, Ben. I think they got a Sansa here. Rick's probably feeling like no good deed goes unpunished as he was fighting for rebounding position.
How often is Rick Asanza at 7'1" getting outmatched by 4 inches on the glass?
Yeah, so he helped there on the Baker Mazzara floater, previous possession for USC, and now Dines at the line.
Makes the front end from Independence, Kentucky. 61 games over 2 seasons at Youngstown State.
Get a second look here at Asanza, definitely making contact, extending the arms, fighting for position.
I guess you can't go over the back if there's no back to go over.
Right, that's true.
Asanza faced him up. So 1 of 2 at the line for Dines, 9-point game. This was a game played in a molasses jar the first half. It has really gotten entertaining down the stretch, though. 3 on the way, goes down for Brown. He has 13 on 3 triples, and it's back to a 6-point game.
Now, LMU lost 68% of their scoring from a year ago, and you were asking, Ben, where's it going to come from? Of course, Brown here is making a statement that he's got the ability to produce. Played at Cal, Virginia Tech. Now, a boon for the Lions offensively, Brown getting it done.
Something about USC, though, for Rodney Brown. He scored a 13-point game, which tied a career high as a freshman playing for Cal against USC. Final year, both those schools were in the Pac-12. Now he has 13 in his LMU debut, even in an unofficial exhibition tonight against the Trojans.
Good matchup here. Shelley checking Baker Mazzara.
Baker Mazzara, the float knocked away, comes right to Williams in an offensive foul. Push off by Dickerson in the paint. Off of really nice defense inside for the Lions.
Yeah, it was. And also you had Asanza with active hands deflecting the basketball, making it happen in a major way. We get a good look at it. There's Shelley checking Baker Mazzara. And Baker Mazzara trying to dish to Dines off the pick and roll action. But Asanza active, shows the help, and recovers to get back on his man. And now has the opportunity to cash in at the free throw line. That'll be a really good sequence on tape to reinforce how to defend pick and roll with your guys. In this case, Shelley and the big man Asanza, who goes 7-1. Hasn't seen his family for a long time out of the Congo.
That's been a great story for Rick Asanza, now the grad student. Started at Oklahoma. This is his 4th year in the program for LMU, and Asanza will watch as his teammate Aaron McBride goes to the line. Can't hit the first. There was a brief review there. I believe they were checking, Bill, on who was the player that committed the foul, because it went on Dickerson, which is his 4th. Marsh also has 4 for USC. Nobody with more than 3 fouls on the LMU side.
LMU's been pretty good from the line tonight, 14 of 18, notwithstanding that miss. 78% for the Lions.
Aaron McBride, 3rd year in the program, 0 for 2 at the line. Tough time to go empty as it stays a 6-point game, under 5 to play.
Now again, Baker Mazzara is going to have the ball a lot in his hands. Can you defend him as well as you did on that last trip?
Dickerson drives baseline, wild pass. Marsh reels it in with 9 on the shot clock. Marsh, high rainbow triple, way off, and a rebound to Vide. 3 on 2 for the Lions. Shelley all the way, 4-point game.
Excellent defense leading to good offense. That was a big-time defensive rebound by Vide that started it as well.
Baker Mazzara cans it from downtown. Loudest the gym had been all night, and Baker Mazzara silences him with their first three-point make.
He's got a flair for the dramatic to rise to the occasion. 18 against Florida in the Final Four last season. Baker Mazzara is a big-time player.
I guess playing in front of 75,000 people doesn't faze you. Oh, Dines now gets a block on Shelley.
That's even more to perform for.
Of course.
There you go.
Final Four last year, now brings his talents to LA, does Chad Baker Mazzara. Game high 14. He's on the near wing. He and Shelley have really gone at it all half. Behind the back pass, oh, what a dime! And Dines throws it down, but Mazzara is hurt for the Trojans.
So, of course, you hope Baker, that type of scenario with now 3 minutes to go here, trailing.
Lions had it within 4, then a couple buckets back-to-back for the Trojans, including a Baker Mazzara 3, and they get a foul off the ball. That is on Amarion Dickerson, and Dickerson in his Trojan debut fouls out. 6 points, 7 rebounds for last year's Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year, Amarion Dickerson.
Yeah, so officiating, it's like the weather. When it's hot, you wear your shorts. When it's a little chilly, you wear your sweater. And each night is going to be different, of course. So a great learning experience, but you've got to be bullish on Dickerson if you're a USC fan and really like his game.
Well, the update on Chad Baker Mazzara, he was helped to the bench. You would have thought, all right, exhibition game, they probably just sit him. Well, no, Eric Musselman talked to him for a few seconds. Chad Baker Mazzara indicated like he was good to go, and they send him right back into the game. Josh Dalton at the line makes 1 of 2, and it's an 8-point margin, 2:57 to go.
So you need to turn the opposition over here at best if you're LMU. At worst, secure a defensive rebound. UB Brown's cardinal rule, the NBA playoffs, can you control your defensive board? That's what LMU needs right now.
Each team in the double bonus. Marsh goes to work. Inside, tough scoop. Oh, off the glass. Just magical from Jordan Marsh. And he was stuck on a wet spot, couldn't get up. They stop it for player safety. And Marsh is fired up.
Yeah, that was a crafty, creative, schoolyard move, kissing it off the glass. Absolutely gorgeous move, especially in crunch time. Great job by our crew here sticking with Marsh as he couldn't get up, as you alluded to, Ben.
Now what a response this has been from USC. All the momentum with the Lions in front of a partisan LMU crowd. Got it to within 4 a couple minutes ago. All of a sudden, 55-45 is the Trojan lead. Brown with a team-high 13. Can he get loose for another 3? Instead, it's Vide in the paint. Tough shot. Somehow comes to Asanza, and he misses the dunk but got fouled in the act.
Now, this is a good play for LMU for a variety of reasons. Vide attracts the attention with the ball in the paint. And then Asanza receives the pass, Ben. But I think what will happen here on tape when you break this down, they'll say, listen, Rick, you got to be big here and demand the ball. As soon as you see Vide doubled in the paint and you've got position on your man, you must be demonstrative and demand the ball. And again, he will get to the free throw line. But that's why exhibition games are so valuable.
So instead of an and 1 free throw for Asanza, he goes to the line for 2 and misses both.
So free throws have been a conundrum for LMU late in this game, Ben, right? They've kind of failed to take the opportunity with the clock stopped to cut into the deficit. Another key point to work on.
Baker Mazzara short on the step back 3. The freshman Dalton with the rebound, but LMU running out of time. 10-point game. Lions have gone cold over the last 3 minutes. And if you're Needing a refresher, that's a new challenge rule just instituted for this year. Coaches do get one challenge now per game, and Stan Johnson was trying to use his challenge there, but because the play was not reviewable, they wouldn't allow it. Hirion Vide gets the deuce, and LMU takes a timeout. One of two remaining.
Swipe the basketball, steal the basketball, and score. Of course, time is not your friend right now as we see a kick by Shelley.
Eight-point game, 68 seconds left. It also just goes to show how different a team in the transfer portal era can look from one year to the next. USC rode its three-point shooting last year to success, but struggled on defense, and at least in this exhibition, SC has really gotten nothing from the outside shooting game. 3 of 19 from downtown, but they have been exceptional defensively tonight for head coach Eric Musselman.
Yeah, they have been. They've been very active. A lot of deflections. We're not tracking them here, but that number would seem to be very high.
That's a travel. Marsh picked up the pivot foot right after getting the ball. An absolute gift for LMU. Not only to get the stop, Bill, but no time comes off the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you want, to the consternation of Eric Musselman. So let's see if LMU can score here quickly on the baseline out-of-bounds play. That would be ideal. And then apply the pressure once again immediately. Do not let anything get behind you, nothing long. That's going to result in an easy bucket for SC. But again, you got to score first. I'm ahead of myself.
Brown, he leaves the pivot foot, and that's a turnover right back. Wow.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Right in front of the LMU bench, Brown trying to make something happen. Got to turn the page.
If you really boil it down, that has been the story of the without a scare in the second half. See if LMU decides to play the trap foul game or if they'll play it out. Final minute from Gersten Pavilion. Marsh with 12 points. He's hounded, gets rid of it. One more pass, dines inside, and Terrence Williams with a cherry on top for SC. A quick reversal comes to Brown for 3. Knocks it down. 16 tonight on 4 triples for Rodney Brown, and LMU still has a pulse.
68% of your scoring, and you're reloading your roster. What a great player to bring on board.
Inbounds comes to Marsh. And LMU will take the foul on Williams. Williams is the only player, if you look at last year's box scores, who was on scholarship that contributed for USC. And it was just 7 games before a season-ending injury against Oregon. But having watched the Trojans, while this is far from a finished product, Bill, got to be so impressed with a team without 2 likely starters in Elijah Arenas and Rodney Rice, how they have handled themselves with so much newness. 13 newcomers and 10 transfers all together for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and it's like Doug Collins says, know your role, stay in your role, star in your role. However, frequently your role changes due to different circumstances, injuries, foul trouble, etc. So you're right, as Asanza exits, Rick did a nice job tonight. But you're right, USC's players responded here really well, cohesively, despite the newness of their roster. You just never know. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because you never know when your number will be called.
Williams gets both free throws. Vide, one last hoist, little strong rebound to Kofi, and he's fouled.
And the thing that's so incredible about coaching, right, is if you're Stan Johnson tonight, you're probably feeling like, man, we just weren't ourselves the first 20 minutes. You'd like to have that back because they struggled mightily in the first half, and they've been so much better here in the second 20 minutes, outscoring SC by 7. And they were outscored by 16. They only scored 13 points in the first half. So, like anything else, it's about that continual improvement, day to day, drill to drill, practice to practice, game to game.
A lot of good to take away for LMU. They'll still have one more exhibition. It'll be closed door at Long Beach State next weekend. USC will have a scrimmage against Grand Canyon before the real games start. Here we get a foul on a drive by V-Day. That whole identity of preaching resilience, too, for Stan Johnson. I mean, that got really tested in the first half, punched in the mouth the way LMU did. Have to be impressed with the resolve they showed to get back into the game.
Yeah, here's V-Day operating on Marsh, 7-on-7. And that looked like a pretty clean strip. Coach Musselman and the coaching staff were not happy with that call. But
fouls out Marsh. 12 points, 3 rebounds for Marsh, the Big South newcomer of the year at UNC Asheville last season.
Yeah, Marsh as a provocateur for the Trojans did a very nice job this evening, setting the table.
V-Day makes the free throw, and that should do it. On a night where LMU struggled out of the gates, showed tremendous fight back to make it a 4-point game at one point after trailing by 16 at halftime, but too much from USC late. And in this Battle of Los Angeles, USC and LMU put on a show tonight. It's the Trojans who win it 60-51 over the Lions.
So a tale of two halves. LMU trailed by 16 after the